Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 11 of the Pokemon Masterclass podcast. What's up, Justin? How's it going?
What's up, everybody? Class is in session. We got a fun one today, don't we? We're going to be talking all about Trick Room. This is the Trick Room episode.
Yep.
We're going to be going over singles, we're going to be going over doubles, and basically everything else you need to know. So this is the one-stop shop. Class is officially in session. Welcome.
Yep. So this is going to be, I don't want to say like unstructured and like candid, but a little less organized than what we normally do. We're kind of like, there wasn't so much to talk about this week, so we kind of decided that we're like, let's just kind of go, let's talk about Trick Room in general, and let's just kind of go crazy with it. You know what I mean? Let's get into some of the details of Trick Room and stuff like that, because it's a really important mechanic and team archetype. We wanted to talk about it for the last episode, but we decided that it was so prevalent and so strong that we should spend a whole episode talking about it.
Yeah, it does deserve its own breakdown because it's such a unique mechanic, and there's so many different varieties of like what a Trick Room team can be. Not even mentioning the fact, like, once you break it up into VGC or singles ladder, like, that already is two different worlds. But Trick Room is an insanely strong, popular, and viable way to play Pokemon, both in singles and VGC. It's more popular in VGC because of the fact that one person can set up the room while the ally benefits from it, and you don't have to worry about switching out. Or generally in singles, what we see a lot is people will have like a Trick Room setter that can also utilize it himself without switching out. So it's usually teleport Trick Room, or maybe Trick Room with like a flip turn, volt switch, U-turn type of thing to get out like that. Or it's just Trick Room 3 attacks. That's usually what you see in singles a lot. Today, the biggest things that we want to touch on, we want to make sure that you guys have a good understanding of how Trick Room works, both the move and then also the setting, like once Trick Room's on the field. Because like the move itself has like a -6 priority. So there are some tricks. Like Brandon's run a couple of really, really slow taunters before, specifically just to shut off Trick Room, because it doesn't matter about speed because it's negative priority. So there's a lot of nuance to the actual move itself. And then again, when the ability's on the field, you get 4 turns of reversed speed. So Brandon, you want to talk about that? So obviously any Slowpoke is now
like God tier as far as speed goes. Yeah, exactly.
So now we're not looking at who's faster, we're looking at who's slower is going to go first in the turn. So things like Torkoal or Scavalier, or those really slow Pokemon.
Yeah. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of the episode, we just want to check in with each other. You know, we chat all the time.
Yeah.
Justin, what have you been up to in your free time outside of Pokemon, man? What have you been, or even in Pokemon? What's up, man?
Pretty good. We just put out a Kingler video. That was a lot of fun to film that.
Check that Kingler video out. If you want to see Kingler take out legendaries, you should probably watch that video.
Are you a fan of Tyrantrum? Are you a fan of Kingler?
I'm absolutely.
Are you a fan of
absolutely.
Are you a fan of Magnetric?
Absolutely.
Just check that video. Link in the description.
Yeah, link in the description. I know you're talking to the audience, but I'm a fan of those Pokemon myself.
We did we got some good battles with the Gmax Butterfree. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that comes out tomorrow. That video's pretty good.
Gmax Butterfree taking on the ranked ladder.
Yeah, make sure you check that one out. Gmax to Master Ball. We had a little bit of a slow start, but we're kind of thinking that's going to go like all summer. So, you know what I mean?
Depending on how long Series 9 goes.
Yep. And then as far as me in the background, I haven't been doing much except, picked up fishing.
You got a new spigot outside?
Yeah, that's like the most exciting thing that has happened to me. I got a new spigot in my backyard for my hose. And then I just went fishing with Connor from Great Lakes Outdoor Wonders. I didn't catch anything yet. I'm still like a novice fisher, but he's getting pretty good at it. We sight fished some bass, and he caught a pretty decent sized one. I didn't catch anything, but we had a good time. But that's pretty much all I've been up to. I'm gonna probably go fishing after this podcast too.
Nice.
So, yeah. So with that, I believe we are gonna get into our first subject. Justin, this is something you've been really excited about. We'll touch on it for now, and then as it comes out, we will probably talk more about it if we like it.
A lot.
Let's talk about Pokemon Unite.
Yeah, so the trailer just released this morning, the official trailer. First of all, I want to talk about the aesthetics. It looks great. Like it really, 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 honestly, 12 out of 10. The animations look great. The graphics were amazing. It's exactly what I was hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing like official foot and not beta footage or anything. We got to see gameplay. I've been following this a lot. For anybody fans of the channel know that for about a decade or so, I was pretty invested in League of Legends. So obviously this is right up my alley, playing a League of Legends type Pokemon game. For people that don't know, that's what Pokemon Unite is. Link in the description to the trailer, to the official trailer just released today. Basically, for people that play League of Legends, it's kind of like a mixture of Twisted Treeline and Dominion. So there's it's sort of a smaller map, but then there's the capture points around the map that you're kind of holding the point, sort of like Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah, yep. Capturing bases and stuff like that.
Yeah, capturing bases, capture the flag kind of gameplay, and it's sort of a balance thing where like, oh, we captured this one up here, but then we went down to that one, and they went behind us and recaptured that. So we got, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
a lot of fun there, and it's all Pokemon based. So basically, small little 60-second rundown. There's a pretty substantial roster so far. A lot of fun Pokemon that you can play with. Some of them evolve, some of them don't. We basically start out the game just like a League of Legends type of game where you start out at level. Everybody starts out at level 1. Any Pokemon that can evolve start out at their base forms. So, like, you're not going to start out with a Charizard. You can start out with Charmander. And then eventually start out the game, he'll evolve to Charmeleon and then Charizard. But then other things like Lucario, there's no Riolu. You just start out with Lucario. Or Pikachu. There's no Pichu and Raichu. It's just Pikachu the whole time. So, anyways, you pick your Pokemon. It looks like we also get to customize which moves we pick, which is just going to be amazing. So it is different than that from what it looks like from League of Legends, where the 4 spells, QWER, are preset for your champions. It looks like the pokes, we do get to customize which moves we bring in. Maybe you bring Flamethrower over Fire Blast or something. I'm just throwing names out of a hat here. That looks like what we can potentially expect. And we're really, really, really excited to see the official gameplay. So what they said today was that it releases on Switch in July and then on mobile in September.
Yep.
Now, we're not sure if that's going to be worldwide in July. I would assume so. But there have been rumors that it's Japan only for like a soft open sort of thing, like a soft reveal.
Yep.
And then September globally. So we'll have to wait on that. More news on this podcast as much as we get it, we'll share it with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're really, really excited. Go check it out.
And if it's something that we like, that's something that we will cover on the channel as well, you know? So this will be my first exposure to a game like this. And so I'm pretty excited because I never played League of Legends, but I'm excited to sink my teeth into this. This is the perfect kind of gateway into that gameplay style because it's Pokemon.
Yeah, and it's super short games. I think they said it's like 10 to 15-minute rounds, so it's not...
It's not like 30-minute games like League.
It's 30 to 45 minutes plus all the login time.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty excited about that. We don't have too much more to talk about right now, other than a bunch of stuff that we've seen from beta. It's been in beta test for about 6, maybe 12 months, but it's been in beta test for a while. So there's lots of footage out there if you want to go check it out yourself. Personally, I'm most excited to try out either Gardevoir or Charizard. Charizard looks really fun. And Gardevoir looks pretty similar to a champion in League of Legends called Karma, which is arguably my number 1 best champion of all time. Really good hybrid, damage mage, but also support mage, and that's looking like what Gardevoir is going to be. So yeah, those are the 2 that I'm excited to try. I know Brandon had his eye on the bunny, and Greninja looked pretty fun. Anybody else you're excited to try?
Probably Lucario.
Ooh,
yeah. Cause I like Lucario because I played him in Smash. What's that? Yeah.
He's not the janky Mewtwo clone like he is in Smash. He's actually got the Bone Club and does some fighting moves.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, we're definitely excited to try this. That's something that you might see more on the channel. If you're interested in this, if you're interested in us covering this, let us know in the comments below too, because it's something we're interested in. If it's a good game, if it's kind of jank and whatever, then we'll see what happens. So.
Yeah, everything's subject to change depending on whether, because it is a free to play. I don't know if we mentioned that or not, but that's amazing. So you can just download it for free, and we have tried free-to-play games on the Switch before that have had varying levels of success and playability, like Paladins. There have been times in our life where Paladins was a lot of fun. There's been times in our life where Paladins crashes dozens of times.
Somebody gets kicked from the game, like every game, at you know what I mean? We've had nights like that. try to play 9 games in a row and
Exactly.
someone gets kicked like every single game. So, yeah.
Every single game.
Yep.
It's not an exaggeration. So, again, that's more of a function thing. We have to wait until we actually get our hands on it. But from what we can see on paper,
Yeah, it
pretty
looks pretty
excited.
fun. It
Thumbs up
looks
from
pretty
us.
fun. Yeah, I'm excited. So it looks like the roster of the starting day game has been revealed, and
Ooh.
they also have
For Pokemon Unite?
yeah, for Pokemon Unite. So and they also have classes. So we'll go by class first. So we got Attacker here. Pikachu, Greninja, Venusaur, Alolan Ninetales, Cramorant, and Cinderace. Okay. That looks pretty cool. I'm really interested in the classes. Speedster,
Speedster.
Talonflame.
So this is maybe like these are the assassins.
Yep, Talonflame, Absol, Gengar definitely kind of fits that. When you say assassin, I kind of feel like these Pokemon kind of fit that role. All Rounder.
Yeah, so these look like the champs that are just good at a little bit of everything.
Yep.
They're kind of probably really good for new players
Yep.
who haven't maybe played like a League of Legends type game before. This is probably where I would.
Lucario, Machamp, Garchomp. Yep. So this will probably be something that I have to look into. Is
Yeah, there's
Pokemon like
your
this.
Lucario.
Yeah, I could start with Lucario day one. We got Defender.
Defenders. I'm excited for this one.
Ooh, Snorlax,
We got
Crustle, and
Snorlax,
Slowbro.
Crustle, Slowbro.
Cool.
I'm really excited to see how their tanks work. I'm a big my main role was jungle, and one of my main roles for the team was bruiser or tank junglers in league. So this is right up my alley. I'm really excited to try. I'm probably most excited to try Crustle out of this.
Yeah, we like Crustle on
How
this
he
channel.
does. Love Crustle.
Then
Well,
last
what do we
is
got for supporter?
Supporter. We got Eldegoss, Mr. Mime, and Wigglytuff. Okay.
So excited for Mr. Mime. We saw in the trailer
Yeah,
today
yeah.
him put up some sort of barrier or light screen and block people in, and their opponents are able to just nuke them down. Really, really helpful.
So this is cool.
Certain choke points in the map.
Yeah, this is cool because it's teams of
You wanna
5.
click,
Is it teams
all
of 5
battle types
in a
real quick?
battle? Is it teams of 5?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, cool. So you could, you know what I mean, fill out, they got 5 different classes. Maybe, that's how you kind of fill out your team. But
Yeah, click all battle types real quick. We'll show out the full roster.
yeah, let's show.
Just so everybody sees who's here. And one thing to mention is we already saw footage both in the trailer and beta testing that we know for a fact we have done 19 here in this roster, but there's also 2 more that aren't here, and that's Blastoise and Gardevoir. And they do have their full evolutionary lines, Ralts, Curlia, Gardevoir, Squirtle, Wartortle, or Blastoise. They will be added to the game after the initial launch. So we already know, there's 19 pokes here, but there's 21 total within the whenever they release those first 2, which we already see footage for.
Yeah.
And that also is really promising that in the future, like in a year from now, I expect there to be 30 or 40 Pokemon we can play from. Like I expect them to continuously add more and more pokes, more League of Legends terms, more champs that we can choose from in the future, which is exactly what you'd expect from a League of Legends type game coming from a company like Tencent. So I am super excited to get this official roster.
I really want to play Cinderace.
Even more exciting than I was before. Yeah, Cinderace looks great.
I love this artwork of Cinderace kicking here. It looks awesome. I really want to play Cinderace.
Yeah, and she's an attacker too. So is Greninja. I was expecting them maybe a little bit more assassin, but it looks like they're just straight offense. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Okay. So cool. Well, with that news, let's roll into the main topic. Yeah. Well,
Let's
actually, no.
Singles Trick Room.
Yeah. Let's talk bands first. Let's talk about Zacian first. All right.
Oh, we do have Zacian coming up, don't we?
Yeah. Let's talk about Zacian. Then we'll talk about Trick Room.
Talk about that doggo.
And this is the only real band we have to talk about, and because we don't play a lot of Ubers, I follow the Uber metagame. I don't play a lot of Ubers, but we made a team last Showdown Sunday. We had a lot of fun, and I might roll that team a little bit more in the Ubers metagame.
That was an interesting experience.
It really was. It really was. So Zacian-Hero has been suspect tested and banned from the Ubers metagame.
It's the official number 2. First it was Mega Rayquaza, now it's
then we had Zacian crowned, and now we have Zacian-Hero. So the reason
he's
for
just
this,
too strong.
Yeah, the reason for this ban is because he still has Intrepid Sword, and people pair that with a choice band. So basically, when you enter the field, you have +2, and they actually have some calculations here. For Zacian here, nothing can switch into this Pokemon. These calcs are pretty damning, honestly. Like, a choice banded Zacian close combat to a physically defensive Necrozma Duskmane is a 98.8% chance to 2-hit KO. So, like, That's one of the
which is insane because Dustmane is one of the strongest pokes in the game.
Yeah,
in terms of defensive
he's one of the
capabilities.
bulkiest Pokemon in the game, and like an excellent like utility
And Prism
like,
Armor.
And Prism Armor, yep. But that doesn't help it against close combat. But at the same time, like
No. I was only adding to the fact that he's like
Yep.
he's bulky base stats, and then he has Prism Armor.
Yep.
That's why we say he's one of the bulkiest in the game.
Yep.
And for anyone, it's like when you play like VGC and like you finally have something that can one shot a Dusclops. It's pretty rare.
Yeah, that is rare, and that's a problem. If it takes no setup to do, it's a problem. Like
That's a problem.
They got choice band.
It's just not healthy for the community. It's not healthy for the game state. I love Zacian. I play Sword. I love Wolves. You guys know that. Zacian is one of my, and Zamazenta both, two of my favorite legendaries of all time. I think they're amazing aesthetically. Hold on. No puppy. No puppy.
No puppy. No puppy.
But, yeah. So I'm super biased. I love Zacian. But even I'm like, you got to shelve that play.
Yeah. Like a couple other ones they've got here that are really kind of shows why this ban was necessary. Wild Charge has a 62% chance to KO defensive Ho-Oh. That's really significant because he's one of the biggest defensive Pokemon in the game. And then Play Rough has a 93% chance to 2-hit KO defensive Groudon, which we were running on our team after Leftovers recovery. So Leftovers plus physically defensive, you still have
he still gets blasted.
Still gets it. So nothing can switch into this Pokemon. Like nothing can switch into this Pokemon. I do wonder if this
let something die and then bring in a hard check and hope that they stay in.
Yep. So my last thought on this is I do wonder if they're kind of opening the floodgates to more bans for Ubers. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen, but like the first thing that comes to my mind is like Choice Scarf Kyogre. Like I feel like a lot of the damage outputs from that Pokemon are very similar to this. So I wonder if they're, as they start banning more stuff, they're going to get comfortable with the idea of like, let's keep banning things out of Ubers, which I don't necessarily agree with. However, some things just aren't healthy.
Ubers is supposed to be that last hurrah where people can play with their pokes. And I agree with the Mega Rayquaza, and I agree with the Zacian, both forms. But I also agree with you. Like I don't want to see this trend continue.
Yeah, I don't either, because, but at this, it's just like a double-edged sword. Because at the same time, it's like we want a healthy metagame, and this wasn't it. Hopefully we can find some balance.
I'm biased because I've never personally. I've always liked Ubers. I always thought it was fun, but I've always. This is my personal opinion. This is not a PMC opinion. It's just me personally, just Justin.
Yep.
I've always thought of Ubers as a fun meta. And I mean that both in the positive and negative connotations there, as sort of like the meme meta where it's like, I've never taken it super seriously. OU has been like my serious competitive meta. If I want to play hard, try hard, OU's where I go.
Yep.
Ubers has never been that for me. It probably never will be. It's a fun palate cleanser. Hey, you want to go mess around with some Ubers? Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun. Kind of a troll meme kind of mentality is how I go into it. And then when we did our last showdown Sunday, that basically solidified it. Like, yeah, this isn't a serious meta, and I shouldn't take it seriously because nobody else does. Look at everybody. Like we battled one Uber team in an hour.
Yeah.
So again, biased opinion, and it's anecdotal at best, but that's always been my viewpoint. So I don't care a whole lot. That's what I mean to say is I don't have a huge emotional investment whether or not they keep banning things. But for the sake of a healthy metagame, I do want to see them pump the brakes and just kind of let it simmer for a while.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely see what happens in the Ubers metagame, and we'll keep you guys updated. Definitely, it's a meta that we still cover. Like we don't play it a lot, but we cover it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's
fun to see what goes on up there, and it's really important for any metagame, even if you're down in the bottom.
Yeah.
To be able to stay up to date and see what's going on up there. And there are some really fun, like lower tier Pokemon that you can use up in Ubers to great success. Yep. And it's actually a lot of fun to do that. I would never bring a whole team of like what we saw where there's like no Ubers at all. Yeah. That seems a little troll to me.
But anyway, so we're going to talk about our main subject now. Let's move on. We're going to talk about Trick Room. Let's talk overview of the basics of Trick Room. So you kind of probably already know, if you've played Pokemon before, that Trick Room reverses the speed of all Pokemon on the field, singles or doubles. And why is
For
that?
4 turns.
What's that? Yeah, yep, for 4 turns. It says 5 in the game, but you lose a turn of that when you set the room. So it's effectively 4 turns. So you spend 1 turn setting it.
You get it. Yeah, it's 4 turns that you get to use the Trick Room.
Yes, yes. So,
Because unfortunately, it does, like he said, it counts the turn that you click the move as 1, but the move goes off at a -6 priority, so it's literally the last. It's like a self-quash. It's the last thing to go on the field, so you're not actually using it that first turn.
yeah.
It's impossible.
So let's talk a little bit, Justin. Why is Trick Room effective? What's the benefit of running Trick Room?
Subverting expectations. If you come across a team that has, depending on what tier you're playing, obviously. So we're talking about singles here. So whether you're in OU or all the way down to ZU, doesn't matter. It's the same structure, same function, same basic principle. So again, like we said, it's a -6 priority the turn you click the move. So it's the exact same priority as negative priority as teleport. So you're going to be taking that hit. So that's something to think about. And in singles, because there's only 4 turns of actual usage after you click the move, if you click the move turn 1, and then you click, whether you hard switch, click teleport, or click, like a volt switch, U-turn, whatever, that's another turn of your Trick Room. So now you've only got 3 turns left once you actually get somebody in.
Yep. And then maybe you have to spend another turn setting up. Maybe you Swords Dance that turn. Then you only have 2 turns.
And you only got 2 turns. So in singles, I've seen a lot of people fail with Trick Room, myself included back in the day, when they get the Trick Room set up and they instantly think, oh, the Trick Room set up, that means I have to hit the gas pedal. I got to go, 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 because I'm on a limited timer. Sometimes. That's my answer, sometimes.
So
there are times where you get that Trick Room set up and there's an opening that your opponent wasn't expecting, and you have the opportunity to slam that gas pedal and just run it down.
Yep.
Do it.
Yep.
But there are other times where you get the Trick Room and the game state really hasn't changed that much, other than the fact that now you have speed priority for a couple of turns. Being patient in singles with Trick Room, I think, is the most valuable asset you could have as a trainer.
Exactly.
Is knowing how and when to utilize your speed control.
I've got a little visual here for everybody at home on why Trick Room is so important. I've got Rhyperior pulled up on Smogon's page here. So when you look at the stats here at Rhyperior, he's very slow, right? But look at all this. Look at all this green, and you could. This is almost like not even a good example.
Really bright green.
You know what I mean? But you see, the speed is 40. Basically, when you turn a Trick Room on, imagine that this speed here is actually 130, right?
Yeah.
This Pokemon has uber statistics, like 115, 140, 130. The 55 special attack and special defense are not that great, but he's got Solid Rock. But if you gave this thing essentially 130 speed, you're looking at an uber Pokemon here. And another great example that I like to show off is, Escavalier. I've got a Escavalier pulled up.
Love a Escavalier.
Look at this Pokemon. It's got this. These stats are almost as bulky, and it's got a 20 speed. So essentially, you're like
He's one of the slowest folks in the game.
Yeah, you're essentially looking at like 140 speed or something like that with Escavalier. So you look at these statistics, and that's a borderline uber Pokemon, and that's essentially what you're doing.
Smashes the meta.
That's essentially what you're doing with Trick Room. Is you're taking these really slow Pokemon, and you're flipping these speed stats. You're basically just adding 100 plus points to their speed stat depending where they fall, and it's all kind of like it's all kind of like a ratio.
It's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like if you want a visual of why Trick Room is strong, here's your visual right here. So Justin, you alluded to the fact about being patient in Trick Room in singles, and I totally agree. And I think it's going to take setting Trick Room multiple times in a singles
100%.
game to win. You can't. There's no way.
You can't just bring 1 or 2 Trick Room setters and have the rest of the team just, this is just, I'll set up the Trick Room and then I've got all these different options to use it. No, you need multiple options to set the Trick Room if you want a full Trick Room singles team because of the, like we mentioned before, because there's only 4 turns of actual usage of the turn or of the speed control.
Yeah.
And so usually there's, like we alluded to earlier, there's 2 strategies in singles. You either Trick Room and get out of there, whether it's hard switching, teleport, volt switch, U-turn, flip turn, etc. Or you teleport with you Trick Room with like 3 attacks, like a Hatterene.
Yep.
Something that could just set up Trick Room and then sweep herself.
Yep.
Now the problem is, this is my big thing with Trick Room. 90% of the pokes that get the move Trick Room, because it's a Psychic type move, are Psychic type.
Yes.
Or Ghost type. Most of the Trick Room setters in the game fall underneath these 2 typings, which means your team has a very big weakness to both Dark and Ghost, 2 incredibly prevalent offensive typings this generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Ghost and Dark have always been kind of strong, and it's especially strong against Trick Room setters.
Exactly. So I have pulled up here basically a list of every Trick Room setter in the game. And I just want to point out a couple really good ones. I'm not going to go through everyone, but just a couple really, really good ones that are not Psychic or Ghost. They get Trick Room. So how you can build your team while avoiding those very common weaknesses.
Yep.
First out the gate here, we have Comfy, one of the best supports in the game, singles or doubles, super great. DNC, super nice. Rock and Fairy. We've got Rock Poison Nihilego. Super weak on the physical side, but incredibly bulky on the special, so definitely could potentially set that up for free.
Mm-hmm.
Porygon 2, probably one of the most premier setters in the game.
Yes.
Stack Attacka and Whimsicott. So right out the gate, there's already a lot of really good Trick Room users that I just named right there that aren't Psychic or Ghost. Then if we scroll down here a little bit, we have some other really, really nice ones, like Aromatisse with the ability Aroma Veil, and I was actually a little bit mistaken. I thought she had a 99 HP. It's 99 special attack. She has 101 HP.
Yeah,
so she's
I like,
really, really bulky.
I like Aromatisse. I love the Aroma Veil plus Trick Room, so you can't be taunted. Like I really, really like that. And you can make this Fizz Def or specially defensive, whatever your team
really
needs.
strong.
And it's got a 29 speed, so when it gets in a Trick Room, you can
He's
do
slower than those 30s.
Yeah, that's significant. So you can do some stuff with this. I think that's a great pick.
Audino is another really good one. Base 103 HP, 86 for both defenses. Has the ability Healer or Regenerator, both really, really good.
Yep.
Depending on if you're playing doubles or singles. It's just a plain normal type. We've got Carbink, Rock, and Fairy. 150 for both defenses. Has Clear Body or Sturdy. So again, you just Sturdy Trick Room. We have... Who else is down here? Ooh, Alolan Executor, Dragon and Grass.
Mm-hmm.
Super interesting, and he's got a lot of really good utility. In base 45 speed, he's really slow. What's another good one up here that we were talking about recently? Kling Clang, Pure Steel.
Problem with Kling Clank is, like, what do you do after you set a room with Kling Clank? You know what I mean?
Exactly. But again, maybe somebody finds some uses for it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. If you find a use
Not
for
to
Kling
say that
Clank,
it can't work.
if you got a fire Kling Clank set, drop it in the comments below because I want to see it.
Absolutely, I want to see that set.
Yeah.
We also have, I don't know. That looks like pretty
That's
much
it. Yeah, everything.
Porygon Z also everything else is Psychic or Ghost that gets Trick Room.
Yeah.
So I basically listed every single Pokemon right there that's not Ghost or Psychic that gets Trick Room.
Yeah.
So if any of them stand out to you, feel free to plug a couple of those on the team. Like originally we were trying out Cresselia, and we ended up swapping it for Aromatisse. Cresselia is bulkier, but the type advantage to be able to have a fighting switch in still, but also have a resistance to the dark type hits and neutral the ghost has been really, really powerful.
It's part of the reason why Urshifu Dark is so popular in doubles is because he's got the dual stab for a lot of Trick Room setters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can really handle those setters. So I've got a sample team of a singles Trick Room team here, and we'll kind of go over some of these mons because these really, like, the ideas that you've been talking about, these like philosophies that you've kind of been discussing with like a setter and then leaving or a setter and then attacking. We have those here on this sample team.
We put them to practice in the team we threw together, didn't we?
Yeah. So we got Porygon 2 first. Really a good example of that idea that you're talking about. You got this really defensive Pokemon, and then you get out of there. So you got a combination of Trick Room and Teleport. And then for the final slots, we like Recover, Try Attack. However, you can put Follow Play on this spot so you're not walled by ghosts. I think that's
I really, really like Tri Attack because of the hacks, and it's good damage because he's got a really nice base special attack.
Yep.
But at the same time, Recover, in my opinion, I love Recover on this set because there are times where, whether we're slower or faster, where you can just recover, install somebody, and gain back all that HP. And if they're not knocking off your Violite, he's incredibly difficult to punch through.
Yes.
So any amount of HP kept or recovered on the Duck is just, I mean, it's worth, in my opinion, it's worth double the amount of HP any other Pokemon because he's just so bulky.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly, but that's sort of how I think about it in my mind. Like, I put a lot of value on keeping that Duck healthy because he's so hard to get through.
Yeah, for sure. So the next one that we talk about is your idea when you talk about a Mon that has Trick Room, but then immediate offensive capability.
This is what we call the Trick Room 3 attacks.
Trick Room 3 attacks. We got Hatterene here.
This is your baby.
This is my baby. This is a Mon we've been just featured ad nauseum on this channel. It's one of my favorite 8th gen Pokemon.
She's beautiful.
Either Hat or Grimmsnarl, and I really like Indeedee as well. But that's besides the point. We got Hatterene here. A really excellent anti-lead Mon as well. Like you can use this Pokemon. You can bring out
because of the magic bounce.
Because of the magic bounce. If you see like Azelf come up and you think they're gonna Stealth Rock, you bring Hat. You got Hat in the back, switch it in, bounce the Stealth Rock or the Taunt back. So that's really useful. But yeah, Pokemon,
not being able to be taunted is really, like, the fact that we have a Romavale and Magic Bounce. Yeah. The amount of times that we're going to be taunted with this team in terms of like not being able to start a Trick Room is very, very, very slim or minimal or non-existent at all. Yep. Because for people that don't know, Romavale, if you've ever used the move Safeguard, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but if you ever use the move Safeguard, it basically puts up like a light screen or reflect type ability for your team for 5 turns where you can't be statused.
Yep.
This is the exact same thing, but with an ability, and it's a prevention against Taunt, Torment, Heal Block, stuff like that.
Yep. Curse Body, things like that.
Curse Body.
Disable.
Disable.
Yep. So that's the Aromatisse here that you were just talking about. We did a mixed defense on this too. But yeah, we've shown off 3 Mons on this team. They all have Trick Room. This is the idea. This is that idea that we talked about where you got to have multiple setters. You can't just have one dedicated setter, or your room's not going to go up as often as you want. And then we've got another we got our 4th setter here in Stack-Attacka. So this is kind of a mix of utility and offense with Trick Room and Stealth Rock. But then you got Body Press and Rock Slide for a lot of massive damage because this thing actually slaps pretty hard. So
yep,
we got 4 setters on this sample team, and that's kind of where you got to go with it, right? When you're playing in singles, you're going to be setting up multiple rooms. You might set up 4 or 5 Trick Rooms in a game if the game goes 30, 40, 50 turns
easily. And that's one of those things about in singles, playing patient is the most important factor to playing a Trick Room correctly. Is you have to be thinking, this is like that galaxy brain level. You have to be thinking at least 2 or 3 steps ahead at all times.
Yep.
You can't fly by the seat of your pants and just be reactionary. You have to plan ahead every single game. Almost every single move, you have to be thinking at least 1 or 2 moves ahead, bare minimum.
Yep.
You have to constantly keep track of there's a lot of bookkeeping. You have to keep track of your turns at all time. On Showdown, it makes it really easy.
In doubles it gets
really
hard.
Easy.
Yep. In doubles it gets
in Showdown it's really easy because it's right there in front of your face. On cart, it's more bookkeeping that we have to keep track of.
Yeah, but I kind of like that though. That's just like that adds extra layers to why VGC is so
Definitely.
great. You've got
Yep.
It's like you're researching in between turns every time,
Absolutely. So for singles, the biggest thing is that if you want to have a full Trick Room, and you don't need a full Trick Room squad.
No.
Maybe we should have prefaced this at the beginning, but we don't. How do we word this? So if you want to play Trick Room in singles, it doesn't mean you have to build a team like ours where it's full Trick Room.
Yeah.
We did, because that was the experiment. B, we're doing it to show off for this podcast. So that was literally the point. Is we jumped into the deep end of the pool without even giving it a second thought, and that's okay. You can do that too.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea here. Was we went hard Trick Room with this team because
hard Trick Room.
You could have slotted in a pivot Pokemon here in the spot of one of these other slow sweepers, which we have Escavalier and Rhyperior to round out the team. We didn't show them off, but these are our main damage dealers. That don't set their own room. But we definitely could have taken out one of these Pokemon and grabbed some sort of pivot Pokemon, something with Volt Switch or U-Turn.
Yes. So
you can build it how you want. You don't have to go hard Trick Room. This is hard Trick Room, this example that we got here on the screen.
Yep. And one of the things that I've liked in the past is having, even on a singles team, is having one or two a little Trick Room core, because if the main, again, we talked last week about our last podcast about archetypes and stuff like that, so people should be pretty familiar with our verbiage now if we talk about cores and stuff like that. So it's kind of good that we did it in this order, because now people can follow along easier.
Yeah.
So if the main core of your team, whether it's offensive, defensive, whatever, the main core structure of your team is what we call the standard, the normal speed, the normal movement speed, not Trick Room. Where the fastest Pokemon goes first, tacking in one, maybe two Trick Room pokes at the end of your list might be really powerful in case you come up against other Trick Room users. You have sort of an anti. Also, if you come up against somebody else that might be able to take away your tailwind or reduce speed or something like that, you can then, I don't have to go full speed. I can go the opposite way too. So you don't have to go full Trick Room. There's lots of ways that you can plug and play one or two little pieces, or even three, like half and half. There's plenty of options. And again, Trick Room is really good in singles because, like I said, subverting expectations.
Yep.
Playing patient and subverting your opponent's. If your opponent thinks that you're going to set up Trick Room this turn, you could just Rock Slide and kill that Talonflame or Charizard or whatever. With your stack attacking, you don't have to click Stealth Rocks or Trick Room like they think you're going to do. You just attack it, and they don't expect it. And you know what I mean? That's what I mean by subverting expectations, is don't build the way that they expect you to build, and don't play the way they expect you to play.
Yeah, maybe don't commit to Trick Room so much, you know what I mean? And that's part of, And
it takes reps. Trick Room is difficult to pull. I don't want to be. Trick Room is one of the most difficult tactics to pull off in singles.
Yeah. I think Stall is pretty hard too. But maybe I've never played Stall.
Stall is easier in singles, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I don't think Stall doesn't really have much of a place in doubles, but yeah. So just one more fun thing to mention about Trick Room in singles is you have access to a couple more setters that are really fun because of the access. Because you can use things like Jirachi. You know what I mean? You could do a Trick Room.
Love Jirachi.
You know what I mean? Got 100 speed, but you could run a 0 speed and all that stuff. So yeah, that was the last thing I want to talk about for singles. So I think we'll wrap that up. I think you want to take a break and then we'll talk about doubles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we'll do that. We're gonna take a little break and then we're gonna talk about doubles.
Let everybody go to the restroom, get some refill on your water, refill on your coffee. Make sure you stay hydrated. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Stay hydrated. All right,
for you guys, it'll be 2 seconds.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you in a second. Alright guys, and we're back. We were just gushing over more Pokemon Unite news in our break here, so really excited for that.
But, check it out. Check out some of these stats.
Yeah, they got stats and stuff for the Pokemon, so we're pretty excited for that. But let's get into Trick Room and doubles. I think you would agree that Trick Room is better in doubles than singles, correct?
100%. Yeah. It's not even. It's almost like a completely different mechanic in a lot of ways, because the ability to utilize Trick Room without having to switch out is just, it can't be understated how strong it is. We talked the entire series of a singles Trick Room portion of the class today was basically mentioning how to utilize it, the maximum amount of turns, how to utilize the maximum amount of turns of each Trick Room. In doubles, it's not really an issue, because one poke sets up a Trick Room, the other one utilizes it, or both. So, it's the ability to whether it's turn 1 of the game or just turn 1 of setting these 2 pokes out, regardless, the ability to one poke hits Trick Room, the other one protect.
Yeah.
Just a free setup. And there's a lot of, like, you can bring the Mental Herb or Aroma Veil or something like that, so you can't be taunted. There's a lot of... The only way to beat Trick Room in doubles, if you can't taunt them, is to Oko poke. And there are certain bulky pokes like Porygon 2 or Dusclops that are pretty difficult to one-shot.
Yeah, pretty hard to one-shot. Yeah, I definitely agree. Like when you talk about the ability to hit Trick Room with one Pokemon and then protect with your partner Pokemon, all in the same turn, set up the Trick Room, and then your offensive piece is unharmed, and then you're free. You got 4 turns to use this mon instead of in singles where you hit the Trick Room, then you get out of there, and then maybe you set up, and then you're looking at like 1 to 2 turns worth of your Trick Room. This is 4 full turns of Trick Room for 2 Pokemon to benefit from at the same time. So,
and depending on the matchups, depending on the game state, like there have been times where we've done Trick Room Nasty Plot or Trick Room Swords Dance in the same turn.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're cutting down speed right there, and you're just setting them both up. So again, you have to predict / plan for that, or depending on the game state. But there have been times where we've gotten that off.
Yeah, and I do have a sample team, and then we're going to pull up Picolix. And when I say sample team, this is a team that is already on the channel. This is my Glastrier team. But if you want to see the Glastrier team, we have featured this already, and we have a rental code for this team. So check out the rental code vid, check out the Glastrier vid. We'll link those in the description below. But I've got this Glastrier team up. So we got Porygon again, set in the Trick Room. And then here's that idea that you're talking about. We got Porygon on one side. We got Hatterene on the other side. She's got Protect, so she can protect, and Porygon can set up the Trick Room, and then Hatterene is free to Gigantamax and do a lot of damage for 4 full turns, with Porygon also benefiting from the Trick Room that entire time. And then you got access to things like Ally Switch, whatever. But yeah, that definitely, this is kind of like goes along that lines of what you're talking about. You know what I mean? And then I've got other mons here that actually kind of benefit from it, like Grimmsnarl. And Incineroar. Incineroar is kind of like a mid-tier speed Pokemon. But yeah, well, sitting at 60, yeah, I would say that's pretty mid-tier. That outslows a lot of things in a Trick Room, and I don't have any speed investment. So, and then that. Oh, my dog's popping off. Hey, no popping off. Not on my channel. But then I've also got I've got the kind of, when you talked about in singles, you've got that mon that is kind of the anti-Trick Room, not anti-Trick Room, but like that speedy threat. If I want to go fast mode with this team, then I've got this Galarian Zapdos. I can set up Airstreams, counter the Intimidate setters, things like that. And then Incineroar being a mid-speed Pokemon can benefit from Airstreams or a Trick Room. So that's kind of one way to build a team for Trick Room in doubles. Do you want to talk about some of the premier setters?
Yeah, so obviously the first one I want to talk about is the Hoenn rep, of course. We want to talk about Dusclops.
Of course.
Outside of Dusclops, it's either Dusclops or Porygon 2. They are by far the 2 most premier Trick Room setters in all of EGC. There are loads of others. Stack Attack is really good. Whimsicott's really good. Hatterene's really good. Male and Didi. Jellicent. Lots of great ones. But by far the 2 premier ones are Porygon 2 or Dusclops. Both Eviolite users, both incredibly tanky and hard to take down. And the ability to... Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, well, which one do you like better? I guess it really just depends on your team comp, doesn't it?
Yeah, I use Dusclops quite a bit because he has certain ways to proc weakness policy with either Bulldoze or Shadow Snake. He gets Will-O-Wisp, which is incredibly powerful. Pain Split's really, really strong in a Dynamax format. Does a lot of damage and heals him basically back up to full. So yeah, there's a lot of potential options there with the Dusclops. He also gets things like Rock Tomb.
Yeah. Yes,
to do minus speed and proc your allies.
Because I'm looking through his moves right now. I'm looking through his most used moves, and it's like there's just like
he gets helping hand also.
It says a lot that the spread of moves that they're showing here, there's like so plentiful. Trick Room, Nightshade, Pain Split, Haze, the Ally Switch, Helping Hand, Will-O-Wisp, Bulldoze, like you had mentioned, Brick Break, that's another weakness policy propping thing for Glastrier, Taunt, Shadow Sneak. There's it says a lot about a Pokemon when the move pool is so diverse, and in other Pokemon when the items are so diverse.
Deep.
Yeah, this one you don't run anything but a Violet, but like a deep move pool, like when you're on Pikalytics and it's like there's X amount of moves, and then like Incineroar runs a million different items. Like that says a lot about Incineroar and how good it actually can be and how versatile it is.
Yes.
So another setter that I want to talk about that
I really love.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, the Porygon 2 for doubles. I was just gonna mention that real quick while we're on it. So that's the Dusclops for Porygon 2 in doubles. We've actually been seeing a lot more Dynamax Porygon 2 because he's basically impossible to kill when he's Dynamax. It's I don't usually say that, but it's pretty close to impossible to take him down.
Pretty much
in those 3 turns of Dynamax.
Yeah.
So it's really like a stall game. Like if you have to stall your opponent out for whatever reason, weather or whatever, Dynamaxing your duck is a really good way to go to just buy yourself some time.
Yeah.
And live through whatever they're pulling out. Also, it does a considerable amount of damage. He has a really high base special attack, and he gets down mode.
Yeah, 105. Yeah, like 105 is not bad, especially like
considerable. No,
yeah,
it's
you don't even have to invest in it, and Tri Attack actually does like a decent amount of damage. So yeah,
you see a lot of Ice Beams in VGC because of the Landorus. So that's one thing I want to shout out is that I pretty much never leave home without Ice Beam in doubles, but that's just a personal preference. Usually expect that a lot. Either he does get Thunderbolt, so you got to kind of sort of expect that too, or be prepared for that too in doubles. It's just something to think about. Foul plays really strong in doubles, and another really good thing that they both get, especially the duck, you see a lot is Ally Switch.
You know what? It's funny that you say that because I'm looking through his moves, and Ally Switch is not even listed in its top like 7 to 8 moves. You know, Recover, Trick Room, Tri Attack,
which is weird because I feel like we see Ally Switch more than Recover.
Yeah, it's got Eerie Impulse, a 44% Eerie Impulse. Like I have never seen.
I feel like I see it. I've seen that, but I definitely have seen the Ally Switch more. Well, again, maybe it's just our own examples, but yeah,
I never see Eerie Impulse. That's really interesting.
I would have expected the Ally Switch.
Yeah, I would have expected Ally Switch in the top 4, but it's not there. That's really, really interesting. I think a lot of people are opting for Ice Beam over something like that because when you're in a Trick Room, then you can hit Landorus. You know what I mean? Because you're going to live whatever Landorus tries to do. You know, like you're always going to live an Earthquake. You're always going to live. Oko. Yeah, and then you set up the Trick Room, and then you got Ice Beam at your disposal. So that's probably why you got 60%.
Even Sword Dance or Weakness Policy proc, I don't think you can Oko.
Yeah, you got 60% Ice Beam usage, and I know we've used Ice Beam before, but I usually forego Ice Beam for Ally Switch, but that's decent to taste, I would say.
Yeah.
Yep.
And again, I personally like the Ice Beam, so it's not right. There's just so many options.
Yeah, that's another. There's another thing. He's just so versatile. So another one, a very versatile.
Syndrome is what we call it.
Yeah, another versatile Pokemon I want to shout out is Mimikyu. Mimikyu's kind of
really good.
I feel like he's kind of been rising in popularity as a support mon. I do like the offensive versions as well in VGC because you could do Follow Me Sword Dance, but we're talking about setters right now. But yeah, it looks like he is rising in popularity as a Trick Room setter. It's his #1 move at 95%. Then Play Rough, Shadow Sneak, Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, Phantom Force, Swords Dance, Wood Hammer. I didn't even know Mimikyu got Wood Hammer. That is news to me, dude. Did you know that?
Yep. I've been boned by that one before.
I've never seen that before, dude. Okay.
Really strong, especially as an overgrowth option. But yeah, we don't see too many Dynamax Mimikyu. It's more of a 3v3 thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, what we've been using for about a month or so now is the Well, no, you used it back in Series 7, didn't you? But the support of Mimikyu, when using the disguise to set up your Trick Room, and you get basically like a free focus set out of it.
Yeah, it's outside of taunt. I mean, you can't be faked out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like outside of taunt, the setup is pretty free, or like a really strong double into the spot, which can happen. But that you know what I mean. You have to expect either a taunt or a double up, and that frees up your partner Pokemon to do whatever they want. So Mimikyu in general, just the fact that you can't take it out in one hit without a mold breaker, just really, really, really strong. Just it guarantees it guarantees a lot of your strategies, and it's got a decent speed tier at 96. That outspeeds a lot of important things. However, Urshifu is not one of them. So, and then you can do like a min speed and a Trick Room, and then you get Will-O-Wisp and things like that. So this is a really, 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 really strong setter if you want something a little different that offers, you know, different things that, you know, I feel like this is like Walmart Dusclops. You know what I mean? Like this is like the poor man's version of Dusclops, but still, it also provides a little more offensive utility, I would say. And then I think the last one we want to talk about, we talked about it a little bit, is Aromatisse.
Yeah, super good.
Usage, absolutely down to 0.05. Understandably so, but Trick Room is
this is one of those sleeper picks that we have discovered.
Yes. You talked about Aroma Veil. Your whole team can't be taunted, so you can set up a Trick Room and maybe like Nasty Plot or Swords Dance with your partner Pokemon. Like if you got Rhyperior in, and he's pretty safe to Swords Dance. Trick Room, Moonblast, Heal Pulse. That's a really good one. Helping Hand, Protect.
Heal Pulse is insane. Life Dew.
I like fake tears here. You could Trick Room and then fake tears. You won't even have to set up with your partner Pokemon. Like
dual screen.
Dual screen. And it's not weak to dark because of its fairy type. You just gotta watch out for Poison Jab on Urshifu. I feel like that's your biggest obstacle if they have it. However, I don't see
you have Moonblast or Dazzle.
I was gonna say I don't see Urshifu Dark wanting to really stay in on this Pokemon in general, especially if you're on the Fizz Def version.
No, because we can one-shot him with a Moonblast.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even up for debate. Like, it will just kill everything.
Yeah.
With a Moonblast. Every Urshifu in existence.
Yeah, so this is a mon I think we might see featured on this channel soon. Like, this is some tech that we're kind of into right now. So do you want to move on to setters? Or, not setters. Do you want to move on to the biggest threats in Trick Room and doubles?
Yeah, so one of the ones that I want to talk about... well, I got a couple here that I want to mention. Obviously, we want to just give a special shout out to our Series 9 Sand team. The whole thing revolves around Trick Room. You guys have seen that a bunch. You've heard us talk about it a bunch. He already mentioned the Glassview team. This is the same sort of thing. This is the one that has the Gigalith and the Cradily, Bronzong, all insanely good options in a Trick Room. Another really good one that I want to mention is Oranguru as a setter, because he gets inner focus, can't be flinched, and then he can run Mental Herb, can't be taunted. So then you're for sure, outside of them OHKOing you turn one, you're free to set up a Trick Room, and he also gets things like Yawn and Instruct, which is really, really good, the unique move. So you can see the Instruct Eruption Torkoal in a Trick Room, being able to double blast off eruptions in the sun is...
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit. I definitely wanted to talk about Torkoal a little more in detail, actually.
He's got so many options. The body press set's really good. Eruption, Solar Beam, Scorching Sands is really, really awesome. Doing Eruption Heat Wave is good to have options there. He gets Yawn.
I kind of wanted to allude to the fact that this is the kind of the anti-Trick Room Pokemon in the meta right now. This is you
see him everywhere.
Yeah, your Sun is definitely the most powerful, most popular. I don't know. It's probably the most powerful and popular archetype right now. That and like Dragapult Colossal. Torkoal is the ultimate anti-Trick Room Pokemon because it's slower than almost everything in the metagame in a Trick Room outside of maybe Stack Attack. I think Stack Attack is a little bit slower. I believe Stack Attack is like a 15 or something. It's a 13 base speed. So
yeah,
going back to Torkoal, you don't even have to pack Trick Room on your team to make Torkoal viable. Just like the fact that he's starting Sun and things like that, really powerful. And in the Eruption is like anti-Trick Room. Like it
Yeah.
does so much damage to both of the opposing Pokemon.
The fact that it's spread is so oppressive.
Yep, and then after you take damage, you just heat wave. This mon is so strong right now. He's sitting at 15.92% usage. Um, Definitely oppressive. This is something you need to have an answer for if you're going to run a Trick Room team. I would definitely say, or find some way to control the weather. That's my advice if you're going to run Trick Room.
Yeah, I agree completely. Another good thing in Trick Room, obviously, like we already mentioned, is like anything that can do Trick Room and Bulldoze. So you can, or Rock Tomb or anything like that can slower your ally speed.
Yep.
Set it up also in the Trick. Because like you have something that's like a base 45 at a -1 speed. They're outspeeding like I think it's the base 20s.
Yeah.
Or something like that after -1 if you have negative with the 0 speed EV and everything, or IV. So like the -1 speed to also proc weakness policies is really, really popular.
Yeah, and another
like
thing
again,
you
like
could do
we
is
mentioned, either Bulldozer or Rock Tomb.
you could do South Scary Face Grimmsnarl in a Trick Room as well. Like,
Elf Scary Face Grimmsnarl is really good.
yeah, that's a really good option.
Yeah, being able to. I'm trying to think. So, another really good, like, once the Trick Room is set up, another really good poke to utilize it would be, we already mentioned, but like Escavalier from singles. They're really good at doubles.
Yeah.
We have a Scavalier on our GMAX Katarine team.
Yeah, Rhyperior kind of used to like rule the Trick Room metagame back before like the DLC mons came out. Like back before Rillaboom got Grassy Glide, like Rhyperior was like the ultimate Trick Room Pokemon. Then you like Bulldoze, Dusclops next to it. Yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah, I really like for National Dex options if and when they come back for Diamond and Pearl remakes this fall. I'm really excited. A little special shout out for Hoenn Rep Camerupt.
Oh yeah, Camerupt is going to be so good in a Trick Room if it comes back.
Camerupt is really good in a Trick Room. So yeah, there are a lot of interesting options. Another good thing I want to mention here. So if we're not going hard Trick Room, if we're just another strategy that I am a huge fan of. I've used it for 3 or 4 series now. Is I'll just use like a standard speed, like a Gudra.
Yeah.
That's max HP, max attack, and then you use Trick Room just to stop. Not necessarily to go super slow and beat other Trick Room teams. If you come against other Trick Room teams, then you just use his regular speed to be faster.
Yeah.
If you come against fast teams or Tailwind teams, then use the Trick Room to be slower. So it's sort of that middle ground speed, and it can work either side of the fence.
Yeah.
Gudra is the biggest example I have of this, but other things could be like a bulkier version of Metagross. You could also do things like
I like Primarina for that kind of like mid speed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Primarina and Lapras are both really good to do either way. Gigantamax Lapras with screens is really popular to do.
Yep.
So, yeah, there are some definitely good options that aren't. You don't have to look for the super slow pokes. Another really good Pokemon in Trick Room that we've been using recently that isn't necessarily the slowest on paper. He's got a 55 base speed is Machamp. Gigantamax Machamp with negative speed priority and a 0 speed EV in a Trick Room is actually quite fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Slow? How are we supposed to say that? He goes first a lot.
A lot of these like mid-speed Pokemon, like between like the 55s and the 70s to 80s, you could have those function in a Trick Room as well as function in like a Tailwind or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know what I mean? In a Trick Room, it's good against some of the more.
Metagross is that perfect example. He can go Tailwind or Trick Room.
Exactly. Like and it's really good because in a Trick Room you beat things like Regieleki and those really, really speedy threats, things like Dragapult, and then in a Tailwind, you're probably still faster than Dragapult in a Tailwind. You know what I mean? So you kind of cover yourself there both ways. So if you want to run a team that's got both modes, those are excellent Pokemon for those 2 gear kind of teams. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So another threat I want to talk about, I won't talk too much about it. Hatterene, obviously. This is a Pokemon that I try to feature as much as possible. Because of the Dynamax factor and because of its Gigantamax, this Pokemon does so much damage in a Dynamax format. Like, it's strong in singles, but because all the moves...
Usually the combo you'll see is the Indeedee female for Follow Me, Psychic Terrain to stop Sucker Punches or Bullet Punches or Fake Outs.
Yep.
Then you also.
I was gonna say you mentioned Indeedee female. It's the top teammate at 75% here in Beakalytics. So
Yep.
definitely.
Well, and then the combo of having Smite instead of Starfall. You want to talk about that?
Yeah,
For that combo,
you don't turn off your own psychic terrain, so your psychic moves are always doing a lot of damage to anything that doesn't resist. And then you've got the Smite option.
You don't have Starfall.
Yep.
So what does GMAX Smite do?
Guaranteed confusion on both of your opponents. So
insanely strong.
Yep, and it's just
because it's still based. It's still Hatterene's base special attack throwing out a stab fairy move.
Yeah,
Gigantamax fairy move.
I feel like I don't see Hatterene used enough. Honestly,
it's so strong. It's so good
in a Dynamax format. Like if you can get this thing Dynamaxed in a Trick Room or Gigantamaxed in a Trick Room,
CG.
It's absolutely insane. I feel like it's got 2.5% usage. I feel like it's an absolutely slept on Pokemon. It's still outsped, however, by Torkoal.
Those are rookie numbers. We need to bump those numbers up.
Yeah, get more Hatterene usage up, guys. So yeah, were there any other Pokemon you wanted to shout out for Trick Room?
Yeah, obviously there's a couple of fun things. Anything that has lower than like a 50, 40 speed, something like that or lower. So things like Drampa, Copperajah are really good.
Drampa's a good one.
Drampa's great in a Trick Room. Stack Attack is insanely good in a Trick Room. Bronzong is really, really, really good.
I really like Stack Attack because Stack Attack actually does some pretty good damage if you like to run like a Brave Nature or something like that. Yeah, and then Drampa has the ability to kind of turn off the effects of weather. So
with Cloud9 or we have Berserk, so both are insane.
Yeah, 135 base special attack, 36 speed. So outspeeding most of the game in a Trick Room. It doesn't outspeed like the big Trick Room Pokemon. Like it doesn't outspeed Hatterene. It doesn't outspeed Torkoal. However, yeah.
No, but we can bring either Iron Ball or Room Service.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, those are.
There are options.
Yeah.
I really like Reuniclus.
Yes.
And I really like Reuniclus is great. That's another poke that can be like a Trick Room 3 attacks and just blow holes in people's ships for days.
Yep, and it sits at that 30 base speed that's really popular.
Mm-hmm. You've got... Who's another really premier one?
I mean, there's like some obvious ones we haven't talked too much about, like Glastrier, like...
Yeah, Glastrier is obviously like the biggest one. You mentioned him in your team, like...
Yeah.
Glastrier is insanely popular and prevalent in Trick Rooms.
Yep.
We've also got things like... I'm personally a big fan of Rillaboom in a Trick Room. He's one of those, like, if you do like a bulky Rillaboom and it's like a mid-tier speed, you can go both sides of the fence, fast or slow. I really am a big fan of Gigantamax Blastoise with max HP, max special attack.
Yep.
In a Trick Room.
I just want to touch on. I want to touch a little more on why Rillaboom is so good in a Trick Room because obviously Grassy Glide.
Yeah, because we have Prio.
So he functions and Fake Out. So he functions if you run like an Adamant Nature or something. He's another Pokemon that fits into any team, like no matter what your speed is. Yeah. So like if you want to run like the 2-mode team, Rillaboom's another excellent option for that. Does a lot of damage. Doesn't care about speed because he's got Grassy Glide and Fake Out. So yeah, this is definitely a very, very, very strong option.
I also am a big fan of Azumarill for similar reasons.
Yeah, Azumarill.
Azumarill's a great Trick Room options. You could do certain fun things, like we had already mentioned a couple times, like Audino's a great Trick Room setter, but also a great Trick Room like support user, bulky with a lot of good moves. We've seen it quite a bit, but like bulky leftovers or bulky Assault Vest Venusaur, even though he's got Chlorophyll, just having like a really bulky Venusaur, we've actually seen quite a bit.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Reggies. So Regirock, Registeel, Regice. We've seen a lot more Steel and Rock.
Yeah, they're growing up, especially Regirock. Yeah, because he can start as.
Been seeing a lot of that boy.
Yeah. Yep, and he's up at 2.85 usage, so definitely.
And I also want to mention. Yeah, I want to mention a Alolan Marowak. He's everywhere in VGC. He's really prevalent. He's very strong.
How could we not mention Alolan Marowak.
Yep.
He was on my
He's
Series
got
6
Lightning
team.
Rod.
I had a hard
Lightning
Trick
Rod's
Room
insane.
team.
Ally Switch.
Yep. Detect, Protect,
Super
Poltergeist.
strong.
Yeah. Shadow Bone.
Yeah. Yeah, him having things like Poltergeist or Shadow Bone. Boomerang's really good. Hits twice, so it can go through
Maybe.
substitutes and sashes.
Yep.
We also have Flare Bliss, which is really strong damage, and he can take the Fit Club, which is a built-in Swords Dance as an item. So he just smashes without having any, like we talked about the Zacian. Like, you don't, folks that can just do well without setting up, that's more turns to just kill things rather than actually hitting the Swords Dance button. He does get Ally Switch too, which is insanely strong because he's got such a unique typing. He can pair with a lot of stuff, being Ghost Fire, and like we said, Lightning Rod, being able to redirect electric attacks.
Yeah.
So
I kind of feel
that's a big one for me. We see him a lot.
I kind of feel good. I feel like we've mentioned a lot of the biggest threats. I think we've kind of covered pretty much everything. You know
G-Max Grimmsnarl is another one.
Oh, G-Max Grimmsnarl? Yeah, I use
G-Max
that.
Grimmsnarl is another one that works great in sort of that neutral speed.
Yep.
For either Tailwind or Trick Room, but he's at base 60, so I actually like him in a Trick Room better than Tailwind. That's my personal, because I like running bulky in a Trick Room.
Yeah, same. And he does a lot of damage. You give him a Life Orb and max him, and he does a lot of damage.
Power Whip.
Yep. Yeah. So I kind of think that covers it, man. What do you think?
That's all the big ones, right?
Yeah.
I really like that a lot. I do want to mention there are some fun tech pieces. So usually for me, if I'm running a Trick Room team, for VGC, I usually try to never leave home without at least one clapper.
Helping hand
user.
He said clapper.
But in a Trick Room format especially, because you want to utilize your Trick Room setter more than just to set up Trick Room or pop policy and then just die, right? You want to have some options there. And depending on if you have speed control or not, helping hand's priority.
Yep.
So it goes ahead of fake out, so it's really, really useful. And then also because, like we said, in a Trick Room, you might not be able to. We'd mentioned like before, there are some game state cases where you could potentially do Trick Room and Nasty Plot or Trick Room and Swords Dance in the same turn, but most often it's probably going to be like a Trick Room Protect.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
So your like sweeper, so to speak, sometimes has to just do the raw damage. So having the helping hand to just boost that without any more setup is really nice.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely agree. So I kind of think that covers everything. Hopefully, if you've never used a Trick Room team,
gives you guys a nice introduction.
Yeah, like if you've never used a Trick Room team, you're interested in using one, but you don't know where to start. Hopefully, this was helpful. Hopefully, we kind of uncovered some more hidden gems in the Trick Room for you. For if you don't want to run the standard Sun Room team. Hopefully, we've kind of opened your eyes.
Like Brandon said, we are.
Yeah.
We are going to have links in the description to both the rental code video, which you can find our Glacier team or our Series 9 Sand team. And then we also have links in the description down below this podcast for the actual battle videos themselves. We've got a couple on the channel. We'll just have one in the description. You can find more if you want, but it'll be one battle for the Glacier team and one battle for the Sand team to just actually you can go watch and show it and see it used. Not live, it's pre-recorded, but basically see it live in action.
Just see it in action,
Yeah, and then also this Sunday for Shut On Sunday, so we've got the team that you already previewed. We're going to be we built that team for the podcast and this week for this experiment. So then we're actually going to be going right after this podcast. We're going to go jump on Shut On Live and get some recording done for. Spoiler alert: we're not recording it on Sundays, but it'll be out on Sunday.
So look forward to that. We also, like we mentioned, we got a we can
get.
What's that, bud?
No, just so that way you can get an example for both singles. We talked about singles Trick Room, so we're going to have a singles Trick Room video out this Sunday. We talked about doubles Trick Room, so we already have multiple doubles videos. The Gigantamax Caparaja team, the Series 9 Sand, the Glass Treer. We have lots of Trick Room.
Yep.
Examples already for VGC. And so stay tuned, and we'll have both, regardless of what tier you're trying to play, or which format you're trying to play. We'll have some examples for you of live action of us going through the process of using these Trick Room teams, and you'll get to see sometimes of us, hopefully being patient. Hopefully we get some examples of us sweeping some teams and get really kind of good examples of what we're talking about here in the podcast.
Yeah. So look forward to that. We've got uploads coming all weekend. Obviously, this podcast Friday, we have Gigantamax Butterfree on Saturday. Do not miss that. That's a really good
Really
vid.
excited to see that one.
Don't miss that
out.
one. And then we've got Showdown Sunday. So look forward to uploads throughout the whole weekend. And then we're going to continue GMAX to Master Ball.
Yeah, and then we've also got Gigantamax Blastoise coming out next week also.
Exactly. So I think that wraps it up, man. Anything else you want to say before
I think
we go?
that sounds great. No, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. We want to know down in the comments below, what do you think of Trick Room, whether it's singles, if you are playing singles, what tier, and we'd love to have that conversation with you. If you're playing Trick Room in doubles, we want to know who you're using to set it up and who you're using to sweep, and how we would love to see those strategies. If you want to use some of ours, we have rental codes out. Other than that, we would appreciate it so much if you would smash the thumbs up, the like button on this video. It really helps out the channel, and we hope that today's the day we earned your subscription. Down there is that red button. You hit subscribe. That way you're part of the PMC crew. And if you are subscribed, we want you to invite you to hit that bell over here. That means you get a notification every time we upload a video to the channel, so you don't miss out on any of the masterclass content.
Yeah. So I think that wraps it up, guys. We'll see you guys back here in a couple weeks for our next episode, and I think we're gonna go, man. So until next time, I've been Zero.
I'm Justin.
Class is dismissed.